Imagine an ordinary night, the sky filled with twinkling stars, a calm breeze, people returning home after a long day of work. Suddenly, the tranquility shatters. The sky is ablaze with rockets, families are fleeing, and the world watches in horror as an ordinary night turns into a nightmare. This is not a scene from a dystopian movie. This is a reality for the people living in the Gaza Strip. Just yesterday, the world watched this horror unfold. The rockets soaring across the sky, leaving a trail of destruction in their wake, are a stark reminder of the volatile situation this small strip of land finds itself in. But how did we get here? What are the historical events that have led to this point? To understand the present situation, we must delve into the past. Join us as we journey through time, exploring the historical perspective of the Gaza Strip, the political quagmire it found itself in, and the recent conflicts and humanitarian crisis it faces today. It's a journey that will help us understand the complexities of the situation and hopefully shine a light on the road ahead, so sit tight as we embark on this journey. Before we delve into the historical perspective, let's pause for a moment to understand the seeds of conflict. The story of Gaza is, in essence, a story of possession and dispossession, a land coveted by many, claimed by few, and home to many more. Its strategic location, a bridge between Africa and Asia, has made it a target of countless invasions over the centuries. Each new conqueror has left their mark, shaping the cultural, political, and social fabric of this region. But the seeds of today's conflict were sown in the latter half of the 20th century, with the creation of the State of Israel, which displaced thousands of Palestinians into the Gaza Strip, and the subsequent Arab-Israeli wars. The tensions that were ignited then continue to smolder, fueling the current crisis. The situation is compounded by the complex interplay of regional politics and international power dynamics. Understanding these underlying factors is crucial to unraveling the intricate tapestry of the Gaza Strip's history. So let's turn the page and embark on this journey through time, starting with an exploration of Gaza's historical perspective. Now that we've planted the seeds of conflict and understood the historical perspective, let's steer our narrative towards the aftermath of the Arab-Israeli wars. The mid-20th century was indeed a turbulent time for the Gaza Strip. The 1948 Arab-Israeli war ended with Israel controlling most of the region, forcing thousands of Palestinians into the Gaza Strip, which was then controlled by Egypt. This displacement marked the beginning of the refugee crisis, a problem that continues to plague the region till this day. The Six-Day War in 1967 saw Israel seize control of Gaza from Egypt, further exacerbating the already tense situation. The wars left an indelible mark on Gaza's political, social, and economic landscape, shaping the destiny of its inhabitants. The influx of refugees, coupled with a lack of resources and infrastructure, led to overcrowded living conditions, poverty, and unemployment. These harsh realities gave rise to a sense of despair and frustration, which in turn fueled the flames of resistance and rebellion. As we delve deeper into the political quagmire, we'll see how these events set the stage for the rise of various political factions, each vying for control and influence in the Gaza Strip. The aftermath of war is never just about the physical destruction. It's also about the shattered lives, the broken dreams, and the seeds of future conflicts. As we turn the page, let's explore the complexities of Gaza's modern history and its volatile political landscape. Before we journey into the historical perspective of Gaza, let's pause and take a closer look at a pivotal chapter in Gaza's modern history, the emergence of political factions. After the Arab-Israeli wars, the socio-economic strain on the Gaza Strip was palpable. The displacement of thousands of Palestinians had led to overcrowded conditions, poverty, and unemployment. This hardship and despair, coupled with the political vacuum left in the aftermath of war, created a fertile ground for the rise of various political factions. In the mid-1970s, the Muslim Brotherhood, a religious and political group from Egypt, began to gain traction in Gaza. They provided social services, education, and healthcare, filling the void left by the lack of state infrastructure. This endeared them to the populace and allowed them to expand their influence. In 1987, during the First Intifada, a popular uprising against Israeli occupation, the Muslim Brotherhood in Gaza rebranded themselves as Hamas, a group that would later become a major political player in the region. Meanwhile, the Palestine Liberation Organization, under the leadership of Yasser Arafat, was also vying for control. They advocated for a secular Palestinian state and had the backing of many Arab nations. The competition between these groups and others added another layer of complexity to the political landscape in Gaza. This scene of political fragmentation and competition set the stage for decades of internal conflict and external pressure. The power struggles and ideological differences between these factions would significantly impact the lives of the people in Gaza and shape the political quagmire that we will delve into in the coming scenes. As we continue to explore the complexities of Gaza's modern history, remember, the road ahead is not just about the political landscape, it's about the people who live there, their hopes, their struggles, and their dreams for a better future. In the wake of the emergence of political factions, we find ourselves at a pivotal point in Gaza's modern history, the birth of resistance movements. As we've learned, the socio-economic strain and political fragmentation of the region led to the rise of different political factions. But what followed was a shift in the dynamics, a transition from political competition to armed resistance. The mid-1980s saw the birth of the Intifada, the Palestinian uprising against Israeli occupation. This period of unrest was characterized by protests, strikes, and most notably, the creation of armed resistance movements. The most prominent among these was Hamas, born out of the Muslim Brotherhood, which adopted a more militant stance towards the Israeli occupation. On the other side of the spectrum, the Palestine Liberation Organization, under Yasser Arafat's leadership, was also evolving. It had long been involved in armed struggle, but the Intifada saw it gain international recognition and legitimacy. The emergence of these resistance movements marked a turning point in the Gaza Strip's history. The struggle was no longer just about political power, it was about survival, about reclaiming a sense of identity and dignity. The tensions and power struggles that arose during this period would come to define the region's political, social, and humanitarian landscape for decades to come. As we move forward, let's keep this in mind, for it is within this context that we will explore the historical perspective of Gaza in our next scene. Have you ever wondered how the Gaza Strip, a land of just 360 square kilometers, became such a focal point of global attention? Well, the answer lies in its geographical location and historical significance. Situated on the eastern coast of the Mediterranean, this narrow strip of land has been a strategic crossroads for millennia. Its position, linking Africa to Asia, has made it a coveted possession for countless empires throughout history. From the ancient Egyptians who established trade routes through the region to the Philistines who gave the area its name, Gaza has seen the rise and fall of many great powers. Moving forward in time, the Persians, the Greeks, and the Romans all left their indelible mark on this land. But it was under the Islamic Caliphate in the 7th century that Gaza truly flourished, becoming a vibrant center of commerce and learning. As centuries rolled on, Gaza changed hands yet again, falling to the Crusaders, then to the Mamluks, and later the Ottomans. Each new ruler imprinted their culture and traditions, weaving a rich tapestry of influences that still resonates in Gaza's architecture, cuisine, and artistic heritage. In the early 20th century, the British took control, setting the stage for the modern political struggles that have since defined the region. The mid-20th century saw the creation of Israel and the subsequent Arab-Israeli wars, which resulted in the displacement of thousands of Palestinians into Gaza. This historical backdrop sets the stage for the current political landscape, a volatile mix of power and resistance. But to fully understand the Gaza Strip's present predicament, we must delve deeper into its more recent past and the political quagmire that ensued. So let's turn the page and explore the complexities of Gaza's modern history. In the heart of the Gaza Strip, politics brews over a boiling cauldron of discontent. A land steeped in history, the Gaza Strip, has become a battleground of contemporary political ideologies, a stage where power plays are enacted, and a mirror reflecting the deep-seated resentments of its people. At the helm of its governance is Hamas, a political organization that emerged out of the First Intifada, or uprising, against Israeli occupation in the late 20th century. The organization, whose name is an acronym for Islamic Resistance Movement, has its roots in the socio-political fabric of Palestinian society. It rose to power in 2007 following a violent conflict with the Palestinian Authority's dominant faction Fatah. Since then, it has maintained control over the Gaza Strip, despite international criticism and multiple attempts at reconciliation with Fatah. This control, however, is not without contention. Israel, which surrounds the Gaza Strip, has a significant impact on the region's political landscape. The Israeli blockade, imposed in 2007 following Hamas's ascension to power, has been a source of ongoing tension. The blockade restricts the movement of goods and people in and out of the Gaza Strip, exacerbating the humanitarian crisis and adding fuel to the fire of political discontent. In addition to the blockade, the Israeli occupation of Palestinian territories and the broader Israeli-Palestinian conflict play a pivotal role in the political quagmire. The complex interplay of national aspirations, religious sentiments, and historical grievances has created a volatile environment, rife with conflict and uncertainty. Yet, amidst the political turmoil, there are glimmers of hope. International mediation efforts, like those from Qatar and the European Union, aim to alleviate the energy crisis and stimulate economic growth. These initiatives, though fraught with challenges, represent a potential pathway towards stability and peace. However, the road to peace is long and winding. The political landscape of the Gaza Strip remains a fragile ecosystem teetering on the brink of conflict. This delicate political tinderbox is always waiting for a spark that recently plunged the region into a deadly conflict. Just yesterday, the world watched in horror as the skies above Gaza were ablaze with rockets. The fragile calm ruptured, giving way to a terrifying display of violence. An unexpected assault by Hamas militants ignited a deadly exchange of fire, turning the once peaceful skies into a battlefield. This recent conflict has taken a massive toll on both sides of the border. Lives were lost, homes destroyed, and families torn apart by the relentless barrage. The aftermath is a haunting image of destruction and despair. The streets are lined with rubble, the air filled with the cries of grief and echoes of what once was. But beyond the physical destruction, there is a deep-rooted humanitarian crisis that is often overshadowed by the political turmoil. The blockade on Gaza by Israel and Egypt has resulted in an energy crisis, with the region's power station currently producing electricity for only around 12 hours a day using diesel fuel. This has led to rolling blackouts, severely affecting the daily lives of the residents and crippling vital facilities like hospitals and schools. The situation is further exacerbated by the lack of reliable access to clean water and basic sanitation facilities, making everyday life a struggle for survival. Malnutrition and poverty are rampant, leading to a bleak existence for many, particularly the most vulnerable, the children and the elderly. Amid such overwhelming adversity, it's easy to lose sight of the resilience of the human spirit. Yet it is precisely in these dire circumstances that it shines the brightest. Residents of Gaza continue to persevere, finding ways to adapt and survive. International efforts are also underway to alleviate the crisis. For instance, Qatar has pledged $60 million to build a natural gas pipeline from Israel into the Gaza Strip, aiming to end the energy crisis in Gaza. The road to recovery is long and fraught with challenges, but it is through these efforts and the indomitable spirit of its people that Gaza continues to endure. In the face of such despair, the resilience of the human spirit continues to shine through. As we stand amidst the ashes of conflict, the question remains, how did we get here and where do we go from here? The Gaza Strip, a land steeped in history and strife, stands on the precipice of a new era. Amid the echoes of conflict, there's a faint but persistent hum of hope. The international community, recognizing the urgency of the situation, has taken decisive steps towards facilitating peace and stability in the region. One of the most promising initiatives is the construction of a natural gas pipeline from Israel into the Gaza Strip, funded by Qatar and the European Union. This project, targeted for completion by 2023, aims to alleviate the energy crisis in Gaza, a consequence of the blockade imposed by Israel and Egypt. It's a project that has gained momentum due to converging interests of Israeli, Palestinian, Qatari, and European stakeholders. The pipeline will transport natural gas from the Leviathan field in the eastern Mediterranean, effectively doubling or even quadrupling Gaza's power generation capacity. This could mark the end of rolling blackouts in Gaza and stimulate economic growth. However, the road to peace isn't solely paved with infrastructure. It is the people of Gaza who, despite the adversities, harbor aspirations for a better future. It's in the resilience of Palestinians who dream of a time when the echoes of conflict will be replaced by the sounds of prosperity. The international community, including the US and the UN, has called for restraint and the preservation of the historic status quo. Mediation efforts by Egypt, Qatar and the United Nations are underway to prevent further escalation. The recent clashes have made it clear that the path to peace will be challenging but not impossible. The road ahead is long and winding, fraught with challenges, yet the destination is clear: a peaceful, prosperous Gaza where its people can live without fear. The story of the Gaza Strip is not just about a piece of land, it's about human lives, hopes, and the undying quest for peace. If you find value in understanding the world beyond headlines, hit the like button, share this video, and subscribe to our channel for more insightful narratives. We live in a world that's becoming increasingly connected, and yet we often find ourselves disconnected from the stories that shape our global community. The Gaza Strip, with its ancient history and modern conflict, is one such story that we cannot afford to overlook. It's not just about politics or territorial disputes. It's about the lives of real people, their struggles, their hopes, and their dreams. It's about the human spirit that refuses to be extinguished, even amid the harshest of circumstances. But understanding these stories is only the first step. We need to engage, discuss, and reflect. We need to question the world around us, challenge our preconceptions, and seek out the truth. That's why your engagement is so important. By liking, sharing, and subscribing, you're not just supporting our channel, you're taking a stand for knowledge, empathy, and global understanding. This journey won't always be easy. We'll have to navigate through complex issues, confront uncomfortable truths, and grapple with difficult questions. But remember, every journey begins with a single step, and that step starts with you. So let's take that step together. Let's challenge ourselves to learn, understand, and grow. Let's strive to create a world where empathy transcends borders, where understanding drowns out fear, and where knowledge lights the path to peace. Together, let's embark on a journey of discovery, compassion, and hope.